Mr. BDELL, how you doing, man?
Peace, bro. I appreciate you having me on your platform. You know what I'm
Yes,
saying? We
sir.
breaks a lot of stuff down tonight. So, we can get straight to it whenever you want to
Yeah.
get straight to it, brother.
Got you. I got you. So the first thing I want to address for the people that don't know, like, can you explain the demiurge in this whole matrix that we live in that people just don't quite understand?
The Demiurge is basically the embodiment of the Metatronic overlay. And the Metatronic overlay is where you live in a dualistic paradox. Now, remember, I
Mhm.
was telling you that the Demiurge in itself is based on illusions. And the illusion
Right.
is operated by way of polarity. So somebody's truth can be a lie, somebody's truth can also be a lie, somebody's lie can be the truth. So sometimes you got to operate from a place of reality because
Right.
reality is a state of existence that can't be manipulated. So everything in a Metatronic overlay in the dualistic paradox, it operates by way of emotion because
Mhm.
emotion is another way to feed off your life force. Your life force in ancient Hinduism is your prana, and your prana
Mhm.
is what creates your macabre to where you're able to escape the demiurge because the
Right.
macabre is cultivated by geometric energy fields. Because the carbon body in itself is photovoltaic, we have the ability to convert gamma radiation into biotonic light. So that's
Right.
what I'm saying. The Metatronic overlay is what created, physical existence of what we call the demiurge. The demiurge is what you call hell. Hell is actually the personification of the third dimension merged in with the lower fourth dimension. So when you get into the Gnostic text, it talks about the archonic forces. The archons are basically the same thing as the 200 fallen angels when you're talking about the cherubim in the Bible in the book of Enoch. But these same
Right.
entities are actually draconian reptilian, and they feed off the
Mhm.
sustenance of human beings when you're talking about the Metatronic overlay that is connected to the cube of Saturn, because Saturn and the moon is the external hard drive of the planet Earth. So it's a
Mhm.
sustenance, it's basically a cesspool to feed off the life force of the chosen ones, of the 144,000. Because one thing you got to understand about this system is being used as a catalyst to trap souls. That's what the demiurge is for. That's why
Mhm.
you have a veneration for sex, money, drugs, and all these things that's connected to a form of external stimulation because it's another way to keep you outside of yourself. So that's
Mhm.
why everything's internal. Everything
Right.
is basically internal, even when you look at it from the Hermetic laws, as above, so below, as within, so without. So whatever's taking
Mhm.
place in the cosmos is happening with your genetic format and your neurological faculties as well. So, like I
Right.
said, it's one of those things where we do live in a prison planet because God of the Bible is actually the devil, right? And the reason
Right.
I said
Yeah.
that God of the Bible is actually the devil because he separated the intergalactic waters from the third dimension and created the firmament. The firmament is the embodiment of the spiritual cutoff that created the demiurge. So this is why you don't
Mhm.
have levitation and you can't fly like Superman and all this other shit is because we have a firmament. We're stuck inside of a prison planet because the prison planet in itself is what created the subatomic particles that gives you the illusion of physical matter. The illusion of physical matter is when you're talking about people, places, and possessions. Those are all
Right.
the illusions that keep you stuck in this demiurge.
Right. So what would be the way of, freeing your mind or freeing yourself out of this illusion? Like what would be the first step for like the lost people that don't understand the way? Like, cause like that's a lot of information, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah.
Uh
The best way is to take your damn time back. Because when you take your time back, that's when you take your power back. When you take your power back, that's when you become a god. Because everything in the demiurge is cultivated by the energy of time. Because when you look at the word Saturn, which is a planet, it's a gas planet, but Saturn is equated to Satan. And Saturn is also equated to Kronos. Kronos, who is the god of time, of chronology, to keep you stuck in an artificial time analysis mechanism. They want to keep you stuck here by way of time. This is why your ass got to go to work when you should be out in the sun getting those downloads, right?
right,
Because, like I
right,
said, it's another way to feed off your energy. That's what the system is basically built for. It's to feed off the energy of those who are chosen. That's why when you get into Yakub, who is basically the creator of the white race, he created white people in 4086 BC on the island of Patmos because they are basically genetically modified hybridized entities. They're not really natural to the planet. because they're basically the pre-Adamic man. We, the Adamic people, we was here first. So that's
Right.
what I'm saying. They're artificial intelligence. They're artificial to a system that is cultivated by the devil. So that's why when you go to El's Holy Injil, Revelation 17:17, it says the evil reptilian gave power to the beast. The reptilian is the Archon, and the beast is the Canaanite that is connected to the 13 bloodlines of your so-called Illuminati who was over in Ukraine and Israel. Those are not the true chosen people. Those are the cursed seeds of the book of Leviticus of what they propagate in the Bible.
Hmm. So, okay, let me get this straight. So the planet was never always like this. It got hijacked by extraterrestrials.
Yes.
And us being gods, how did we even let that happen? Like, how does that even fly with such powerful beings and is this also a reason why like meat and blood and all that such a big thing?
Mhm.
Um yeah.
When you get into the Sumerian mythology, it talks about Enki and Enlil. You had Anu. Anu is also known as El Elyon El, or known as Theos.
Mhm.
He is your true personification of the Most High. But one
Mhm.
third of the galaxy of Enlil's faction, they went against the order of Anu and they was kicked out of the heavens. And that's
Mhm.
where you get your personification of the Nephilim in ancient Hebrew, which is Nephala, which is fallen angel. And those fallen angels fell in Mount Hermon, that's on the 33rd parallel, right on the
Mhm.
demarcation line in between Israel and Syria, right?
Okay.
So we fell in frequency. We fell in frequency because we went against the order, because the Enlil faction of the Anunnaki, they was creating humans on planet Mars, and it was
That's all of us, right? All of
uh,
us, all of us are fallen angels.
I wouldn't say no. I wouldn't say that, because some people, I wouldn't say everybody's a fallen angel. A fallen angel is basically those who fail in frequency, who cannot take the G-force radiation from the angles of light. So when you're saying angles of light, you're saying angels of light, because the sun
Mhm.
beams down at 90-degree angles, which makes you an
Okay.
L. And an L is actually the personification of an Elohim, because a 90-degree angle increases the electromagnetism of the G-force of the carbon body to be able to harmonize with the grand unified theory of the space-time continuum. So when I'm saying that we fell in frequency, we fell in consciousness, because now niggas is going to the club, they eating
Right.
cheeseburgers, they doing all these things that's based on external stimulation, to where it takes them out of the God body, to where they're being controlled by archonic forces who is controlling Europeans on the surface.
So basically we under spells, basically.
Hell yeah, we understand.
Basically, long story short, yeah, we under spells, man. And
Yeah, we under a big spell. And that, you know what that spell is, bro? They call it the sleep spell of King Gu. The sleep spell of King Gu is the sleep spell of the moon. The sleep spell of the moon in ancient Sumeria, they call uh the moon sin. The moon sin is being born in reincarnation traps that keep you stuck to the Metatronic overlay or the material world by way of emotion, because that's what the
yeah,
moon is, energy in motion, because it
right.
moves off the tides of the planet, and it also extracts the life force from the women, which is why the women have a 28-day cycle that's connected to the phases of the moon, because the moon, like I said, is a quantum satellite. It's not real. The moon is
Yeah,
actually,
okay.
yeah, the moon is not real. It's the external hard drive of planet Earth, and it's a quantum satellite that controls the energy and frequency and vibration of humans on the planet. They keep you stuck in material. So it's a reincarnation trap.
So okay, because I just had an interview and I asked a question. I was like, "Is the moon real?" Because I mean, I'm for my thing. I thought Smoke told me that the sun made the moon, and I was like, I ain't really agree. I don't know.
No,
You know what I'm saying? But I thought it was brought here
yeah,
for the extraterrestrials to be able to like survive on the planet somewhere. You know what I'm saying?
the moon, when you get into Japanese folklore, they talk about how the moon was told into our solar system from planet Jupiter. Planet
Mm,
Jupiter has an amalgamation of moons. It has many
mm,
moons, because where you get the word Jesus from is Zeus and Jupiter put together, because Jupiter is also the embodiment of monotheistic religion that's connected to the energy of the moon. Anything that deals with MON, like Monday, money, monopoly, that's
mm,
connected to the faction of the moon. because it's based on a form of it's a vibration that is cultivated by materialism. So the moon, like I said, the moon was told here by draconian reptilians or what we call archonic forces. It was told into our solar system to control us.
Right.
So this is why you don't operate from the path of the middle way to where we live in a polarity consciousness, because the moon is what controls the left hemisphere of the brain, right?
Right.
And
Right.
it's what controls the right hemisphere of the brain. But you're supposed to
Mm.
be operating from the place of the middle way because it activates the corpus callosum. Corpus callosum is when the brain is able to transmute into the wings of a dove when you activate the Kundalini serpent. This is what we call the scroll of all, or the tablets of destiny, which is your 7 energy cortexes, your chakra system, which turns you into a god. Because when you get into ancient Hinduism, Krishna is the outer manifestation of Shiva, and Shiva means 7. And 7 is
Right.
the embodiment of the God frequency. So that's how you
Right.
transmute to being a god.
Okay. Okay. So the second coming of Jesus, right?
Uh-huh.
Or the Son, what people will say. How long do you think that will be until that manifests into like physical reality, to like what we actually are? Because I know we in the end times, we in Revelations. When do
Mm-hmm.
you think that, you know, we'll actually be able to see, you know, it with our own eyes, basically, like the sun, basically getting rid of everything that's not pure. Like, um, it's not because, they say black people are the chosen people, but not all black people, because some black people will also be eradicated by the
Mm-hmm.
sun if you're not, if you're low vibrational, or, you just all the pesticides and all that. So, when do you think that the we'll really start to see and understand, and it's not just something that we talk about, there's something that all of us will see, and that all of us will be like, be witnesses with our eyes.
Well, metaphysically, we are living in a 7-year tribulation period. And the reason
Mm,
I say that is because they just came out with a publication not too long ago that corresponds with the prophecy of popes. And it says that in the prophecy of popes, it says verbatim that the world is going to end in 2027. But also in the year of 2027, they're going to have the August 2nd solar eclipse that's going to be
mm,
in our atmosphere, and it's going to cover the whole earth for 6 minutes. 6 minutes is actually 360 seconds. 360 seconds, when you look at the numerical sequence of the binary code system of the matrix, 360 seconds is actually the keys of the universe when you're talking about the 3, 6, and a 9. Because 3
yeah.
plus 6 plus 0 equals 9. So the 3, 6, and a 9 that corresponds with the energy of manifestation. So the second
Mm,
coming of Christ is activated by way of celestial bodies, because I told you by way of the law of correspondence, the celestial alignments corresponds who we are genetically. So the second coming of Christ is operated by the planets above that corresponds with our genetic format. So that's when we become the Christ, or when we become
mm,
Jesus. When you get into ancient Proto-Semitic language, the word Jesus comes from the word Jesus, because the G and the J are interchangeable. So when you're saying Jesus, you're really saying gas. And that gas is a noble gas, which is ether. And that ether is actually the spirit of Melchizedek, who is the true Lord of the Bible. It's not all
mm.
this other shit that they've been telling you about in fake monotheistic religion. Because the Christ is actually you. It's not in no damn book. It's not anything else that's connected to their Metatronic overlay.
Mm, mm. Inside you,
Yep, it's
and
going on
and and,
inside
and,
you.
and the Christ consciousness will be activated in all His chosen people.
Yes. And it's
Right.
cultivated by the energy of a tetrahedron. A tetrahedron is basically like a three-dimensional Star of David. And the
Okay.
tetrahedron operates on tachyon energy. It's kind of like a form of metaphysical sex,
Hmm.
because prana, the life force, is what activates the pineal gland that creates the Merkaba, light ship in the body and inside the pineal gland. So that's why I tell you in Revelations is that those who have the seal of God on their foreheads won't be touched. Those are the ones that's going to be protected, because the pineal gland, when it's activated by way of a tetrahedron, it creates geometric energy fields. It
Mm.
creates like a vortex of energy that's connected to your energetic morphic field that is connected to your nervous system. So it's basically like a bubble around you.
Mm, yeah, I seen the pictures. Yeah,
Yep,
and
yep.
there's like a field of protection almost from like the sun rays and stuff.
Facts, facts.
Okay. Okay. So like the hospital's closing down right now. What's your take on that?
Uh, when it comes to the pharmaceutical industry, it's one of those things where you got to understand that everything that was based on a de facto corporation is actually synthetic to the system. But remember, I
Right.
was telling you, you have synthetic people controlling a synthetic system. So everything that's connected to their pharmaceutical industries is actually connected to their genetic format. It's not conducive to ours. We're
Mm.
supposed to be operate from a place of natural energy and natural foods, and everything is supposed to be natural for natural people. This is
Right.
why genetically modified foods basically harmonize with those who have six ether genetics. We have the non-ether. So now we're going back into the sun cycle that is cultivated by our republic, and everything that's cultivated by our republic can only be organic. It has to be operating from a place of authenticity. So that means that you cannot bring synthetic energy into the golden age.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, you was definitely telling me about that. This is the time
Mhm.
of the golden age. We're in the year of the nine, right? Year of the nine Aquarius
Yeah,
age.
the year nine, and that's the year of the cosmic serpent. And the year of
Mm.
the serpent is actually the year of Ophiuchus. Ophiuchus is actually the personification of Jesus walking on water, because
Mm.
Ophiuchus is the 13th zodiac wheel that basically encompasses the Apophis, who is the serpent apep in ancient Kemetic spirituality. So it's basically the embodiment of alignment by way of the celestial bodies of the earth, sun, and the moon that creates a solar eclipse. So that's why
Mm.
the solar eclipse is actually the personification of the black sun. And the black sun is the black dot, which is the pineal gland that gives power to the olfactory nerve, which is the right knowledge.
Mm. Okay. So with the also with the rise of AI, AI is a reflection of us, correctly? I mean,
Yep.
correct. So
Mm-hmm.
it's in the movies like with Terminator and all that, where basically like the robots they take over and they destroy and they kind of replace us and like build their own world on top of our thing.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think it would end up like that, or are they really here to help us?
I don't think it would end like that, because by that time you have the second coming, and human consciousness has the ability to manipulate physical matter. So the more the sun speeds up in vibration, is going to be caused by us, because the more we raise up in consciousness, it's going to heat
Mhm.
the sun up,
Right.
and the sun has the ability to manipulate uh the what is it called what is it called it's the electrical grid node, that controls all technological devices on the planet. So you have a grid that works in tandem with the firmament. So what I'm
Right.
saying is that when we wake up in consciousness, the sun is going to vibrate more intrinsically to where it's going to spit off an amalgamation of solar flares, and those solar flares is going to manipulate the energy grid, and it's going to shut down all technology, and that's when you're going to have the reset.
Reset. So like basically we're going back like all the way to the beginning of time. So it's like restart.
Reset is really when you transitioning from the age of Pisces to the age of Aquarius, because the age of Pisces was cultivated by the Alpha Draconis star constellation, and the age of Aquarius, which is the golden age, is cultivated by the star Polaris. So that's why when you're going through a shifting process, it's going from different constellations, from the star, the Alpha Draconis star constellation, back to the star Polaris, which is actually the path of the middle way, when you get back to the galactic center, which is the Milky Way star constellation. So a
Right.
lot of fifth dimensional civilizations, they was in harmony with the star Polaris, ancient Tartaria, ancient Atlantis, because it was all cultivated by cymatic vibrations, free energy.
Right.
So we going right
Mm.
back into the golden age. The golden age is only facilitated by the energy of the sun. So that means
Mm.
that the end of the world is actually the end of the lunar cycle.
Right.
Because the first 6,000 years, when you look at the 24,000 year purification period, the first 6,000 years was a sun cycle, and the last two moon cycles we had was uh, moon cycle. Now we're in the last sun cycle. So the next 6,000 years that we just ended right now, we're going back into the restoration. So this is why their systems and everything is falling. This is why the movie industry is falling. This is why Hollywood is falling. This is why all the industries is basically falling.
Right. So
Yeah.
then, as the people, as the chosen, we just sit here, we just let it happen. We just chill, like we good. We just
Shit, it's one of those things where spiritual warfare is not really your fight, because you
mm,
don't have to fight it physically. You have to fight it from a conscious level. So all you have
mhm,
to do is raise up your vibration to the point where it's going to manipulate their systems, because
right.
only from the heart can reach the heart. And when you get into metaphysical biology, the tongue is esoterically connected to the heart. So when you speak with truth, that's actually your sword. That's your metaphysical sword chopping down motherfucking demons. You
Mm-hmm.
get what I'm saying? So you don't have to
Yeah.
really do nothing but love and speak truth. That's the only thing that's going to reset the system. It's not one of those things where you got to go out with Dracos and all this other stuff and go to war. All you have to do is raise up your vibration and you're going to be protected.
Right. Yeah. Cause I mean, speaking of war, we was like the illusion that they put out with the missiles and the bombings and people dying. It's really all spiritual,
Yeah,
and it really happened all within,
fact,
and all that is fake propaganda. None of that is happening for real. And
facts.
that got me to believe, well, not believe, but think back. Well, so World War II, World War III was never physical as well,
Right. Yep.
which is crazy to think about because people said they didn't serve. Like, what is that? Because it's people that say I served in Vietnam and I served in World War III. It was really, but was there really? What like how was it? Like, is that like a? Because it seemed like it was real. The people that actually served, but it's just like an illusion. Like y'all, like explain that to me. You know
That's
what I'm
because
saying?
indoctrination in itself is when people have an emotional connection to something that is basically cultivated by illusions. So
Mm,
just like with the recent war and everything that's going on with Iran and Israel, like
right.
Iran's one of the generals, they said that Netanyahu, who was basically the president or the emperor of Israel, that they was using dark occultic magic for the war. So that's why I said the elites on top, they know that they use, black magic. They use stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Because the
Yeah.
war is actually spiritual, it's not physical.
Mm. So okay, but the war is real though, with the guns and
It's
all that.
war, but what I'm saying is, because one thing you got to understand, everything that happens in the physical takes place in the spiritual first. So if
Okay,
you
yeah,
look
I
at
understand that.
the, it's kind of like the motherfucker, like you being behind the scenes, you behind the curtain, but you really the one that's controlling the whole show. You just behind the curtain. That
Right.
behind the curtain is the spiritual realm. But what people see in the audience on stage is the physical world. You get what I'm saying? But the one
Hmm.
who's controlling everything is actually the apparitions behind the curtain.
Right.
They're the ones who's running the show. Those are the puppeteers.
But ain't the real war in the sky though?
No, it's in the water.
It's in the water.
Yeah, space is actually in the water. When you go and read the book "Behold a Pale Horse" by William Cooper, he was a naval intelligence officer who died, and he was talking about 9/11 way before it even happened. And in the book, he said that he's seen a UFO come out from the ocean.
So, but isn't so um the same? I'm saying the terminology wrong, but the same shit up high, the same below. Ain't that the same thing?
It is, but like I said, it operates on a certain G force to be able to break the celestial waters. That's
Hmm.
why a lot of the UFOs that you see, some of those are actually government, and you can tell by the light spectrum of it. Real UFOs, they have a multi-dimensional color lights because it operates on crystal technology. Those are the
Right.
real UFOs that's actually able to penetrate the firmament and go inside the ocean at the same time. It's kind of like
Right.
being a queen on the chessboard, because the queen on the chessboard, she can move around and do what the fuck she want to do. The same thing with the UFOs that are actually coming from, other interdimensional realities.
Hmm.
Same thing takes place. So it's basically like fifth dimensional chess.
Hmm. That's crazy. So, eventually, the firmament that we are stuck up under, it will open, right? And will we see the actual planets that we speak about, Mars, Jupiter, Mercury? Like, would they be like vivid? Like we can see it, you know what I'm saying? Is it hidden behind the firmament, the
The,
valve?
the planets is actually beyond the ice wall, but also beyond the ice wall, you have plasma vortexes that have concentric circles that take you through stargates to get beyond the firmament. So, in
Mhm.
order to get beyond the firmament, you got to be energetically balanced from the heart and the mind. So,
Mm.
also, it's got to be one of those things where, what was the other part of the question?
I said, will we see the
Oh, yeah.
planets?
Yeah. Now, in 1943, the CIA and other government organizations, they had the Philadelphia experiment. And that's when they created the big rip in the universe in 1943. So that's when they basically made a ship disappear in real time. They made a ship disappear and it showed up in Montauk, which is why you got the movie or the TV series Stranger Things. That's where that came from. That's
Hmm.
what the ship landed in Montauk, New York from Philadelphia. So ever since from 1943, 53, 63, 73, 83, all the way up until the year of 2043, which is also a 9 year, which is the year of completion, that's when the firmament is going to break open. And right above it, you're going to see the mothership, and the mothership is going to extract their children in the so-called rapture. Because when you look at the prefix of the word rapture, you get Ra, which is the sun. It's an energy extraction.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
So the rapture, people will actually disappear, but so it's an actual ship that we will see.
Yeah, because what I'm saying is that when, like, for instance, when you got the firmament is what creates physical existence. The firmament is why you can see phones, you can see your arm and shit like that. But if you take away the firmament, all you're going to see is energy. There's no use for the body, because when you trap light,
Oh,
that creates physical matter. Those are subatomic particles.
oh,
This is
okay.
why
I got you.
sometimes, this is why sometimes when you sneeze, that's the closest thing that you get to death, because when you sneeze, that's when the heart stops at 0 point energy, because when you sneeze, you see particles, and those particles are subatomic particles. And when they condense together, that's what creates physical matter. So when you start to see death, you can see particles and atoms and everything start to split, because it's the illusion. It's kind of like
Mm,
the same thing when Thanos snapped his finger, when he got the infinity gauntlet that is connected to your chakra system. When he got all the
mhm,
infinities in the stones or whatever, he snapped his finger, and that's when everything started to dissipate, because it's the illusion. We are
mm,
the infinity gauntlet. So,
mm.
like, the firmament breaks
Gotcha.
open, that's going to be an energy extraction of
Right,
those who are connected to the earth core of planet Earth.
right. So how would you know that you are aligned? Is it is it a feeling? Is it how would you know?
When you're no longer operating from a place of ego, that's when you know that you reach the apex of authenticity. Authenticity is the highest frequency vibration on the planet.
Right. I seen that it was a science experiment. They said it was they found out it wasn't love, it was authenticity. So
Yep.
being yourself,
Because
basically.
authenticity embodies everything. It's like ether. Because when you have authenticity, that means you love yourself intuitively so much to the point where you can love everything else around you.
Right.
You see, because you
Okay.
basically, you know that all is mental. You everything.
Hmm.
Get some water.
Right. So shit, yeah. So it seems like we playing this big ass game though, like of life. Like, is it like is it really just a game though at the end of the day? That's what it seemed like. Like it's just something that we play with each other, that we play as like just spirits. Cause like we're infinite. We anything is possible.
Yeah, everything is in the simulation is actually a game. It's
Yeah.
really a game. because it's levels. Because if you notice, every time you reach another level, just like in the movie Super Mario, the video game, every time
Yeah.
you go another level, there's a new devil, there's a new entity, there's a new many different forms of distractions that's trying to pull on your energy. That is also equated to the laws of physics, because when you got motion, you in a state of evolution. But when you stagnate, that's when you don't have no evolution. That there is no manifestations or nothing happening for you. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? So that's why I
Because
said, go ahead.
yeah. Now I was talking to a very wise man, and he was like, I mean, if you think about it, it's just a big ass game we play with each other, and we have to have like for the system to work, you have to feel like you have purpose. Like we have to be doing something. Nothing can be stagnant as far as like we were talking about with evolution. Like we have to feel like we have something to live for, to die for. Like if like you said, if everything was perfect, then shit would be dull. Like the shit would be like what the fuck going on with the game? You know what I'm saying? Like nobody would play it. Like if you think about it like that, you know what I'm saying?
The only way to beat the matrix is when you find your divine counterpart. Because when you
And
find your divine counterpart, the woman in itself is what's going to activate the purpose and the mission in the man. And the purpose and the mission in the man is going to cultivate a focus, and that focus is her protection. So when y'all work together like a machine in a factory, she's the oil and you the machine, that's when y'all able to escape the matrix and beat the game.
so
You,
so the masculine and femininity have to intertwine to beat the game.
yep, that's the
So
game. It's all
you
about
literally can't you can't die single.
nope. I mean, you can, but like I said, it's one of those things where like you can do it by yourself, but it's more sustainable when you have a divine counterpart, because it's
Mm,
going to create it's going to make the life force energy to escape a lot more
easier.
potent. It's going to make it a lot more easy. Yep.
So how do you I mean nowadays it seems like relationships go through shit millions of dollars, like we just dating to date or just, how would you man, okay. You would know that it's your divine counterpart once that female or men basically align you and your purpose. Like you now are set on some type of goal to get
This is
out
how
of
you
this.
know. This is how you know you found your divine counterpart. If they don't give you no motherfucking willpower when you see them, that ain't your divine counterpart. It's kind of like when you used to play basketball and in the gym and the girls coming in, you playing football. But when the girls come in, that's when you go up and you heighten your performance. That's what your friend's
Right.
supposed to do for you, and you're supposed to do
Hmm.
the same for her. So it's actually
Right.
supposed to be interchangeable.
So is it something like because some people think that they probably found the right person, but that they're going through certain things or whatever the case may be. But does it just instantly like give you that purpose and that drive and that focus to go ahead and go after whatever it is, or is it like okay for like it to be slow and stuff not to work out the first time, or like you keep trying, or is it like just a straight line like this is it, like we going?
Just to be, very realistic about the situation, you're gonna have roadblocks in the situation. You're gonna have roadblocks in your relationship. That's gonna happen. But on that journey, you got to go through the healing process. If somebody's in a relationship is in a state of stagnation, the relationship is not going nowhere. So both of y'all are supposed to be healing together to be in a state of evolution. Y'all got to heal, because once you heal, that's when you get into your authenticity. Your authenticity is going to lead you to your purpose. And your purpose is going to help you break generational curses that basically
Mm,
subjugated your family and your bloodline. You might
right.
have came from a broken ass family home. You might have came from, uh, a degraded past or whatever. But it's one of those things where you got to be real with yourself. You got to look your motherfucking self in the mirror by way of self-realization and be like, hey, I need to fix this about myself. That's the only way you're going to get to the apex of breaking generational curses, by way of your purpose and authenticity. That's the only way you're going to do it. You got to heal first. So the same thing takes place with your counterpart. Y'all got to be both in a state of healing. Y'all both got to do it.
Okay, so it's not possible to have like multiple women or multiple men. It's just one person.
Oh, it's nothing wrong with polygamy when you're doing it the right way. But you know, as far as like polygamy nowadays, it's being used for, you know, hedonistic practices and sexual gratification. I understand like people want to, you know, have threesomes and all that other stuff or whatever, but initially polygamy was being used for nation building. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
To build
Mhm.
civilizations and build up your economical resources.
Right.
Yep.
Okay. Oh, no, that's crazy. So, before, male and female are born, when we in the paroma or in the spiritual world, we were one
Hmm.
before you transcend down the descend down to earth.
Hmm.
And beating the game is coming back together again and healing, like you said.
Yep.
Okay.
Because
Okay.
unity creates community.
Right.
You got community, you know what I'm saying? That's when you have autonomy. And when you have autonomy, you have sovereignty.
Right.
Yep.
So eventually, uh the ice wall,
Hmm.
that was man-made, correct?
Yeah, that's what we call light code lockdown. Light code lockdown is when you have the Van Allen belt tether connected to the energy of the moon. The moon is a quantum satellite that controls the weather. So the
Hmm.
weather in itself is basically the embodiment of the sleep spell because Antarctica and the ice walls and everything around it, Antarctica is basically an ancient library. It's a frozen library. And so when it goes through the unraveling process, that's when you're going to have liquidation of the sedimentary rock formation and it's going to cause the pole shift. So when when the ice melts, that's when you're going to know that we're in the apex of the pole shift.
Is
Right
it
now,
melting now?
yeah, it's melting now. It's been melting. That's why it's called the El Nino non-weather when you have the waters from the east collaborate with the waters from the west. It's a form of a spiritual transition, and it's also the embodiment of judgment.
Hmm.
Yep.
So we'll be able to see I'm not saying critters. We'll be able to see beings that, Bigfoot, super tall, Anunnakis, extraterrestrials, beings that we never knew existed, bigger than us. And we will be scared of these. Well, if you don't know, these people will be scared of these beings, but they're really like us.
Hmm. Now
Um,
they're real. They tell you in the Bible. They tell you in the damn Bible that giants are real or Nephilim are real. They tell you the size of the Nephilim, which is 1 cubit of a man. 1 cubit of a man is 18 inches. And you take 18 times 9, I think you get 162 inches divided by 12, you get 13.5 feet. That's how tall the Nephilim was.
yeah, shit, that's crazy.
Yep. So they're real. So anybody telling you in the Bible, oh, giants ain't real, they not reading the damn Bible correctly. They just reading it just like they dumbass pastor was giving them misinformation.
Right. And
You know,
we'll all live as one, right?
yeah, all is one, all is mental. You got to
Right.
read the book what's it called? The Tibetan book, The Law of One, because
Hmm.
everything's connected. Everything is connected by way of the mind, the universal mind.
Hmm. That's crazy. That's crazy.
During this time period, everything is one, but that doesn't mean that there's a diametrical difference between chosen ones and NPCs. See, the thing about chosen ones, we're put on this planet to be legends. We're not here to be motherfucking mascots. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? We was built for the spiritual journey, and everybody else, the NPCs, the low vibrational ass people, they was built for the bleachers. So that's why I was saying, like, as you transitioning through your marathon on your spiritual journey, you always got to be in a state of leveling up because as you have the fall of the old world and the crumbling of the system, you can't have an emotional connection to it. You just gotta let it die out.
You can't have no attachments.
You can't have like, you know what I'm saying? I like nice shit, but that doesn't mean that I have a veneration for it so much to the point where I become a slave to it. Anything that you can't fast from, you're gonna become a slave to it.
Right.
So if you can't fast from the alcohol, food, sex, drugs, and you don't have the ability to transmutate that energy to go within, that means you ain't right within. That's what I want to say. But that's some real shit though.
Right,
Yeah.
right. I hear what you're saying. Like, damn, like it's literally people that were meant to be like vibrational. Like it's a part of the game.
Yeah, because they actually the agents. NPCs and low vibrational ass people are actually the agents in the matrix. These are the ones that's, hey, go ahead and eat that cheeseburger. Hey, go ahead and let's go ahead and go to church. Oh, it's okay to go vote. Those are the ones that's make you conform to the
The
artificial
system.
system, which is the illusion.
Right.
Those are the illusions of the third dimension, which is people, places, and possessions. And they come in the form of family. They come in the form of exes. They come in the form of cousins and all that other shit that you love. Your grandma, you might love grandma to death, but she might be an NPC. That's just the reality. It's a part of the game.
Crazy.
It's a part of the illusion. That's why when you
That's
die,
crazy.
they go into the white light because they're going to use hologram technology. The Archons is going to use that technology and it's going to show you a hologram of your grandmother and it's going to put you right back into the matrix because you have an emotional connection to it. That's why I say you have your emotions in balance with the mind. And when your emotions are balanced with the mind, nothing on this planet, no Archon, no Draconian reptilian can trick you. That's a fact.
So when you do pass, you will be approached with a great light, and it can be somebody that you dear to or somebody that's been gone or something. But it's all a trick. So do you go to the darkness or do you go to the light?
You go to the darkness because the darkness is the only way you can resurrect yourself. He even tells you about that in the book of Lazarus. In the book of Lazarus, that's why they got the checkerboard floors in the Masonic lodges. The checkerboard floors means that you're going from dark to light. That's all it means.
Right. But yeah, I didn't heard both stories. I didn't heard go to the dark. I didn't heard that light is you. And you should, if you don't go to you, then basically you back in another body because you rejected yourself.
Everything in the universe started with the triple stages of darkness, which is
Right.
cosmic womb of Mother Nature. So that's why the first organism in the universe is a prokaryotic cell. Black women have that inside their wombs. That's why it was all women on the planet first, way before it was men, because men are actually a genetic mutation of the woman, because the woman gave 2.8% of her chromosomes to create man. So,
It's back. So the Bible backwards then.
Yep. Look, I'm gonna tell you, this is why they say that Eve came from Adam's rib. But what is a rib? Rib is ribonucleic acid, because it's talking about genetic mutation. He didn't come from no motherfucking rib or nothing like that. Like he didn't come from a rib, you know what I'm saying? He didn't come from a rib cage or nothing like that. So that's all I was saying. It's actually talking about DNA modification. That's all it's talking about.
And that's crazy, but it do make sense because if anything, females are the closest thing to God. Well,
Yes.
that's what I always thought. They they bear fruit, they procreate, all that. It
Yes.
couldn't have been men. It couldn't
Facts.
have been. So
Facts.
that's just off pure what you call it? What's the word? You know what I'm talking about.
Like for instance, I
Common
know,
sense. That's what I'm trying to think. It's pure common sense.
like for instance, when you look at the genetic format of the so-called black woman, the carbonated woman, when you look at the genetic format and you look at the chromosome, the X chromosome is the embodiment of everything that's basically original to the planet, because she had the mitochondrial DNA, the mitochondrial Eve gene to create man. That's why when you look at the chromosome of a man, it's actually a Y. A Y is actually a broken X. That's the 2.8% that to create us by way
That's
of
the real.
yeah, and that's where you get the word Genesis from in the Bible. Parthenogenesis. Parthenogenesis means the origin and productions of a certain demographic of people when it goes into other species, when you're talking about man and mankind and things of that nature.
So women were conquered by men.
Yep. And by, you
Which
know, I'm tell you how, the moon. The moon is what conquered the woman, because the moon is what pulls on the energy of the woman, because the moon is a representation of the physical world that's connected to patriarchy. The inception of the planet was a matriarch that is cultivated by the women under a sun cycle. So what they did was patriarchy, by way of colonization and imperialism, they built the patriarchy on top of the matriarchy, meaning that they built the material world on top of nature. So this is why you can't go outside and get fruit from a tree. You got to take your ass to Walmart to go get fruit from a tree, because somebody got to get paid on Wall Street. And it's all a part of the capitalistic system. So that's why I said they don't want you to do for self, because when you do for self, that's when you become a god. You don't need a corporate apparatus if you have a sun cycle, because the moon cycle was cultivated by the corporate world. That's why everything that they do is based on the lunar cycle, the religion, everything in the physical world is cultivated by the energy of the moon, which is the sleep spell of materialism.
Okay, so when will the moon go away?
The moon, as you can see right now, sometimes when you go outside, it be 3 or 4 o'clock daytime, sun be bright as hell, and you look on the other opposite side, you see the moon, right? Because that's how
Right.
you know that the moon is basically falling, because the moon is tether connected to Saturn, and that's what creates the Van Allen belt, which also creates the firmament. That's a part
Right.
of the sleep spell. So, but the sleep spell was basically starting to reverse, because we're in the
Right.
sun cycle, solar cycle 25, when you have the activation of the Schumann resonance, which is basically the heartbeat of planet Earth.
Right.
Yep.
Okay. Damn. Shit. Shit. I ain't never even thought about it like that, but that's
Yeah, it's a
your
whole bunch.
knowledge is crazy, bro. I'm not gonna lie. My brain is over here fucking.
Hey,
But
no,
I understand you though.
I got some books and stuff. If you I'm gonna start sending you some shit.
Okay.
That way you can tap in just for yourself, and that way you can
Mhm.
be like, you be like, be able to resonate with some of the stuff I'm talking about. Like I said, you mad young anyway. You know what I'm saying? I'm young.
Yeah.
You
Yeah. No. You speak it like you the Wikipedia game, like you the Chat GPT.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm over here trying to keep up, but I got like you say a lot of things, but I'm picking like there's certain things I can pick from, and I'm like, okay, that makes sense. I know what you're talking about. Okay,
Mhm.
yeah,
And a lot
okay.
of
So
especially when you start to post some of this stuff, the people in the comments is going to give you a lot more clarity. Like you're gonna be like, oh, okay, because they might touch in on something that I left out based on what I'm
mm,
talking about, and that's gonna, everybody's a piece to the puzzle. Everybody is.
right,
Yeah.
no, that's true. So I'm gonna revert back to women. So the whole thing, so women really supposed to be taking care of us because they the most powerful beings, and
Hmm.
and they got the intuition. They close to God. They supposed to be keeping our ass in line, but they want a man to take care of them. Why?
Well,
Why?
I wouldn't say that, because a matriarch is not one of those things where it's basically one sided. The man and the woman work together. That's what a matriarch is. But patriarchy is where the man rules over the woman. So it's best. That's why when you go in the courtroom, the scales of justice is off balance. You get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Everything as far as like a fifth dimensional civilization, the way it's supposed to be operating, everything's supposed to be balanced.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
everything's supposed to be balanced. Everything in the fifth dimension is balanced. You go in the third dimension, the law of polarity, you know what I'm saying, the scales of justice is basically off balance.
Right. Okay. Okay.
You have some
So
questions too, by the way, bro.
shit, I'm trying to go off the dome. I got a whole bunch of stuff written, but I'm like, shoot. I'm not trying to sound like an NPC, but I want to talk about the what's going on with the presidency. So Donald Trump is the last president
Yeah.
of these here United States. Um, and it seemed like he kind of helping revert everything back to I don't gonna say normal, but kind of it seemed like it. Like he's showing us something. He's showing us that we are the currency. We
Yep.
are we don't need the systems. all this shit was like all this shit was the illusion.
You know why? You know why?
Well,
Because Donald Trump is actually a Luciferian white hat. And a Luciferian white hat, they don't take sides. They play both sides. They
mm,
play they play both sides, meaning that he's basically neutral.
right.
So when you get into the higher degrees of Freemasonry and you understand what he basically embodies, uh, even corresponding with the 47 problem of Euclid, he is also Agent 47. He's the 47th president, and he was actually the 45th president. So when you look at the numerical sequence of 45 and 47, you get 9/11. So that means
Mm.
that the next tower moment that we're going to have is going to happen on Donald Trump's watch because he's also a Gemini. You got Gemini and Uranus all the way up into the year of 2033. Then you have Saturn right now in retrograde, which is the embodiment of karmic retribution. So whatever is going to be taking place within the presidency during the time of Donald Trump, we're going to see a 9/11 event in the future. It's going to happen. It's going to happen.
Mm.
It has
You
to
know
happen.
what I think is gonna happen at?
Why?
Shit. I think low key Houston. Somewhere like Houston. Where everybody moving at or something like where everybody's put up at. I
I
feel
would
like
say
too many
I know Texas is one. Texas is going to be one. California, Florida, New
California.
York. Yep. St. Louis because it's on the New Madrid fault line.
Hmm.
Places like that. But you actually got four Donald Trumps. The real one is inside Chennai Mountain in the deep underground military bunker systems.
So he got clones. Well, everybody got clones in the industry, huh?
Yep. and the reason, like when you're talking about Donald Trump, he is using the restoration process as a catalyst for the next revolution. He's not doing it because he wants to. He's doing it because he has to. Because Donald Trump is controlled by tall whites, and the tall whites are actually the Pleiadians. And
Hmm.
Pleiadians, they're giving him uh, access through the Intergalactic Confederation to cause the restoration process of the Republic. So that's why in the year of 2020, he signed the Second Declaration of Independence on July the 4th of 2020. And the reason that is like I said, they know that we're in the last sun cycle. So that means that you have to give everything right back to the Republic because the Republic is for the people, and the people is the chosen people of the land who are actually the indigenous Native American people who come from the Olmecs, the ancient Atlanteans, the Mayans, the ancient Kemites. That's all us. So that means that he's not doing it because he wants to. He's doing it because he has to. He has to give the keys back to the rightful owners of the planet.
Hmm. Damn, that's crazy. So his presidency when he's the 45th, that was his AI? Or it still is AI now? Or is
What'd
it
you say?
when he was president, when he first became president, that was his AI?
What you mean AI?
Like, because you said it's for
Oh,
Donald Trump.
yeah, that's for that was the real Donald Trump. The real one signed the Second Declaration of Independence. That was the real one. But you
But
got
would you know? Like, it seemed like you showed like how you know?
uh biological effects, and just like they just came out with a video not too long ago. I did it on my last video. It showed
Mm.
you Donald Trump's hand, and his hand looked like it was like pasted together. It looked fake.
Yeah.
Like some of his skin was like ripped off and they like patched it back together. Yep, I did it.
Okay, okay, well, like, what about the Simpsons? You know how the Simpsons like predict everything. It's
Mhm.
really, but they just follow on the script. So really, the Simpsons not time travelers and nothing like that. They just basically showing you the script, and then life is playing it through.
No, I'm gonna tell you why. Because the perception of art imitates reality. And the CIA has an office in Hollywood, and Hollywood has an office in the CIA, and they both work in conjunction. So a lot of the stories that you see in the movies is actually real life. Everything that you see in movies is
It's
actually
real.
it's real.
Everything.
Everything. So it's actually a mirror flip, but they basically put it in the form of entertainment. And entertainment to
I've
control
been
and
saying that.
maintain your mentality, to confine your mentality with a form of entertainment. Because what is entertaining your mentality? Foolishness, right? They try to tell you it's fiction when basically it's really fact.
Right. But that's true because I was like, shit, if they made a movie, shit, they ain't get it from nowhere. This shit is real. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
but people, I mean, they say Superman is us, you know,
Hmm. Yep.
with Superman kryptonite, radiation.
Yep. Yep.
Radiation and he powered by the sun.
Yep. And
Um,
Superman, when you get into the nine noble gases, you got carbon, lithium, sulfur, helium, hydrogen, exon, radon, argon, and krypton. And krypton can only be found in the ecological systems of caves. But krypton, when it amalgamates with ether, the krypton of the crystal turns green. That is
mm,
connected to our neurological functions because we have crystals inside our brain, which is called magnetites and dendrites. And when
right.
it harmonizes with the pheromone of ether, that creates gamma radiation. Gamma radiation is the reason why Hulk is able to turn green because the green energy in itself is connected to Osiris in ancient Kemetic spirituality. So that's why
Mm,
Osiris, his G force in his genetic format had to be green in order for him to get access to Hollow Earth. That's why when
mm,
you go deep inside the pyramids that lead to Hollow Earth, it operates on the megahertz frequencies of 111 because that's the God frequency that basically eradicates the parasites because you have to have your physiology clean when you get access to Hollow Earth.
right.
Yep.
So you have to completely detox the body.
Yep.
Okay.
But we are Superman though. We are Superman. But this is why, like I said, God of the Bible created the firmament. The firmament is what created the spiritual cutoff. The spiritual cutoff is also connected to the neurological functions of the brain called the suprachiasmatic nucleus. Just like you have a firmament over the planet, you have a firmament over your brain. Because when you have
Okay.
a firmament over the brain, that stagnates the olfactory nerve and the hippocampus layer of the brain that also activates the Bathari gland. The Bathari gland is where you get your kinetic energy, levitation, clairvoyance, psychometry. Those are all your spiritual abilities that's been cut off by the firmament. But if you break open the firmament, all those abilities is going to come back because it's going to activate the junk DNA. And that junk
Hmm.
DNA is the activation of the X chromosome, which turns you into an X man. You see what I'm saying? So
Yeah. Okay.
everything they say in the movies is actually us.
Hmm.
Facts.
So like we'll be able to, if you actually, break open the firmament and, line right and all that shit you talking about, you'll be
Mhm.
able to fly, have power, like you'll be actually to do this shit in the movies.
Facts. Facts. But like I
Okay.
said, we under light code lockdown, and then you also have caps on your neurons. But these solar flares is basically like the cosmos taking the limitless pill.
Yeah.
You ever seen a movie Limitless?
I don't think so. I gotta look it up. I don't really watch movies like that no more, bro.
You gotta watch the movies, bro. But in the movie, he kept taking this pill, and it basically kept increasing his brain power. But
I
the
I think I've seen some snippets. I think I know what you're talking about. I don't think I've seen the movie, but I've seen some snippets.
But the same thing is happening to us, but with the solar flares. The solar flares is the limitless pill, and it's
Hmm.
activating our neurological functions.
And that's why they keep trying to block the sun.
Yep,
Okay.
fact.
Okay.
Just like Supercell, they already know what's gonna happen. They know. They already
Hmm.
know.
Fuck. Okay. So I want to talk about I think when in Los Angeles, they're
Uh-huh.
starting to make AI cities, or they're wanting to make AI cities.
Hmm.
Well, what you think the whole point of that is?
That's because LA or the state of California is actually the heart. No, well, let me take that back. LA is actually in the city of the state of California and the city of LA and all that other places up there. There's basically the root chakra of planet Earth. And the root
Mm,
chakra of planet Earth, this is where you got Yellowstone and you got the Seamount Axle in Oregon, where they got those 2 million golden eggs under a underwater volcano. That's all the root chakra. You got Mount Shasta, all these energies in California. California is going to be one of the first places that's going to be underwater, but they have to
right.
complete certain things before that happens. So before you get into that, they're going to have the Olympics. Then you got to have the Super Bowl is going to be there in San Francisco. So like it's going to be one of those things where it's going to be a ritualistic event that's going to collapse the Golden Gate Bridge. You know what I'm saying? It's a whole bunch of things that's going to be happening in that California landmass before the reset.
Okay. So speaking of the you said it will be flooded. The water is rising, like the sea level will rise.
Mm-hmm.
Is that like kind of like what happened with the Bible when they say like the the earth flooded and stuff like that? What is the point of the seas rising? Like
It's part of the reset. When you look at the
mm,
Aquarian age symbol, what does it show you? It shows you a man pouring a pitcher of water on planet Earth. It's a flood of
mm,
consciousness. It's a flood of a different transmission for an alchemical process that's taking place on the planet by way of a reset. You had many different floods before the flood of Noah. And all these floods happened during the time of the reset. During the
mm,
time when you're talking about Pangea, when you had the continental drift, all the land masses and everything was connected to each other before you had that reset. And after every reset, the land masses kept getting spread apart and divided after every reset. Now you get up until the year of 2025. Here we are. The land
mm.
masses spread apart. But now we're going back into a restoration process by way of karmic retribution. And you have an old land masses that was sunk underground, they coming up to the surface, and it's causing different shifts and everything.
Right. So so in the water, right? You said the water was the real space. So there's civilizations that's live down there, like what else? All type of creatures and stuff. How would we be able to access that? Because I've seen like they say they only um scientists only discover 5% of like the ocean or something, maybe even less than that.
Yep.
How would how do we explore that? Like how do and cause I also heard like the ocean was portals as well too.
Mm-hmm.
As portals in it. So how do we are we not meant to explore? Are we not meant to be in the water? Are we meant to be land people?
It
Because I
depends.
always thought like, we start off in water before the water breaks and we, are conceived by our mother. Um, so it's like we started off in the water, so why aren't we able to, and we drink water as well. So it's like we can't go
See,
in the water.
the only reason we drink water right now is because of oxidation. Oxidation steals electrons from the body,
So
so starts
I
the aging process
okay,
quick.
okay, go ahead. I'm gonna let you go.
Go ahead. I just got through eating not too long ago. Hold on.
And oxidation comes from what? So we're not supposed to be breathing in oxygen for real then.
No, you're supposed to be breathing in hydrogen. And the water you're supposed to be drinking in is hydrogen
So
based.
that shit backwards too then.
Yep. Because, like I said, oxygen steals electrons from the cells. It breaks down the hemoglobin cellular structure. So the hemoglobin is where you're able to have immortalized cell lines, to where the cells is able to replicate themselves on an infinite level. Just like a starfish, if you cut a starfish in half, it's going to grow right back. We have the
Mm.
ability to do that, but like I said, we're not in our natural habitat because of the firmament.
Yeah, I always thought that too, because I'm like, shit, we should be able to grow our arm back. We
Yeah.
the most intelligent creatures. Why the fuck we can't do that? We gotta get a fucking prosthetic and all this other shit. Like I didn't tore my ACL. They over here surging me up. Why can't I grow that ACL? Like,
Mhm.
but yeah, that's crazy.
Because
We supposed
the light in the future, light is going to be the future of medicine.
the future
And
of light.
yeah, light is going to be the future medicine in the future
Okay,
because light has the ability to restore the body.
right.
Because, like I said, it creates geometric energy fields. That's what light does. Because light is nothing but frozen geometry. That's what light is.
Yeah. So you think we'll be able to like so all this supernatural shit that basically us being in our natural habitat as humans. in this lifetime. You think we'll live to actually see that?
I think so. I say because you got to understand something. If we're in solar cycle 25 and this is the last sun cycle and the last reincarnation cycle, that means that you're going to have an influx of gamma radiation that's streaming down from these coronal mass ejections and these solar flares. And you got to understand that the carbon body in itself is a liquid crystal. So it's able to absorb information. That's what crystals do. They absorb energy and they extract energy, kind of like what a satellite does. It picks up light vibrations and it sends out light vibrations. We're able to do the same thing. So we're going to go through a crystalline state. The carbon goes from a crystalline because the carbon body is an electromagnetic generator and a light code transducer. So it's able to transduce light into gamma radiation, and that gamma radiation is cultivated by ether. That is the quintessence of the universe that's connected to the fingerprint of God.
Okay. And can you, in your own words, what do you know God to be?
Well, I don't say God. The reason I say that because when you get into the H1408 Strong Concordance, the word God, when you break down the etymology, it is equated to the word Gad. Gad is another nomenclature title for the word Satan, because Gad in the book of Enoch was actually Gandril. And Gad is an anagram for the word Dag, which is Dagon, who is Moloch. Those are the ones that's connected to the faction of the Vatican. That's why they wear the hat of Dagon, it's the fish head god. Because Dagon, Enlil, Yahweh, Yakub, Yaldabaoth, Kronos, Satan, those are all the same entities. But they hide under the word God.
Right.
God,
Yeah.
see, God and see, ask a Christian this. They don't understand the diametrical differences between God in all caps, God with a capital G lowercase letters, and God in all lowercase letters. These are all three different titles, three different entities. God in all caps is the personification of the Most High, but God with a capital G and lowercase letters, that's Satan. And God in all lowercase letters is equated to Psalms 82, verse 6. Ye are gods, meaning that we're a microcosm of the macrocosm because we do have the ability to create our reality inside the demiurge.
Right. Okay. So, so what would you say
Also,
about?
also, because God is also a multidimensional word. God, in my opinion, also was also the mind. God is the highest extension of the mind, which uses elements and matter to express itself. So once you're able to express yourself mentally, that's when you're able to collapse time and take your time back by way of manifestations.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So we are all expressions of the creator.
Yep.
And if you believe the creator to only be one thing, one person, not a person, but one source.
No, because we are creators.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what the system fears. They fear us being creator gods because the gods of everything that's cultivated by the demiurge, they're ruler gods, and ruler gods don't have the ability to create. And the reason they don't have the ability to create is because they don't have human emotion. Human emotion is how you manifest.
Right.
Just think about that Benz or that Bentley that you want. But if you put an emotion behind it and you think about it and you cry like, man, I want that motherfucker, it's going to materialize in physical form because now you created an energy of tunnel vision that's going to lead you to what you want and desire in this matrix system.
Okay, manifestation. I'm glad you said something about that. So is there a way to like, because I know, in this world, people say you can't just snap your fingers or think about something, put emotion in it, and it just happened. Like you have to go get it. Is there a way for like you to speed up a manifestation or for it to happen as fast as you would want it to happen?
You got to shift your mindset when you want to manifest because when you change your mind, you change your vibration. That vibration becomes magnetism. So, like I said, God is the mind. God is the highest extension of the mind, which uses elements and matter to express itself. So, the mind in itself is not associated with the brain. The mind is a force of electromagnetic energy. that pulls in and streams down different forms of intelligence to where you're able to manifest. A lot of people are not able to manifest is because they have a jealous ass energy or they be hating. So jealous energy is actually a manifestation blocker. Hating is a manifestation blocker. Being combative and intrusive towards people, that's a manifestation blocker. So what I'm saying is, in order to manifest mentally, physically, and spiritually, you have to be operate from the heart space and the neurological faculties as well. That's when you get into neurocardiology, because the heart in itself is 100,000 times more highly magnetic than the brain. So when you change your mind, you change your vibration. So when you change your mind, you're changing your heart chakra. You're alchemizing because you're putting an emotion on it. That's 0 point energy. You got to use your emotions as a navigation system to manifest in the matrix.
Right. And damn, yeah, okay. And you change your mind simply by just doing things different.
Doing things opposite, doing everything opposite of the matrix. So when they tell you to go left, your ass go right, type shit. Because everything.
So you basically you screw up the pattern.
Yep. You got to go against the grain, because everything, you know, from the inception of the last 6,000 years that was cultivated by the energy of the devil, everything's been inverted, where the good is bad and the bad is good.
Okay.
That's why I say you got to do the opposite of what they say.
Right. Because they say if you want to, you know, if you want to change your reality, you gotta like fuck up the universe and start doing some other shit. So it'd be like, oh, like what the fuck he doing? Let me,
like
you
for
know
instance, like when it comes to the chosen ones, a chosen one is gonna stick out like a sore thumb amongst people in their hometown. Now, people in your hometown, they operate from a hive mind. It's kind of like a cult. And when you think outside that demographic, they're going to castigate you for being different. So it's kind of like the same dynamic or whatever.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's the same thing.
I went through the same shit, like playing football and all that. And I was always the different nigga. I talked about different stuff. Like a lot of people thought I was crazy. It's the same. I get what you're saying. Same
I
shit.
love when motherfuckers call me crazy, because when
Yeah.
you call me crazy or weird, I know that I'm tapped into my superpower, because that's my authenticity.
Right.
Who to tell me that I'm weird for knowing about my true history? Who are you to tell me that I'm weird because I want to heighten my vocabulary? Who are you to tell me that I'm weird, like I can't extrapolate knowledge while wearing a gold chain and some Jordans? So that's why I tell motherfuckers, spirituality is not a look, it's a vibration. And that vibration is a frequency that sets you apart amongst the NPCs. Because a lot of people think that we can do the same thing just because we look the same. Just because we got on the same pair of shoes or we drive the same type of cars don't mean we the same. I'm different than you because my energy different. We not on the same frequency because I'm thinking way beyond the three-dimensional construct. Your ass is still in the third dimension when I'm trying to operate by the vector codes and reach the ninth dimensional knowledge. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I said when you chosen, you can't be around everybody. So it's kind of like you got to use your ego in a healthy form as a catalyst to keep going.
Right. Dude, nah, you there, bro? Cause you shit, I'm not in frequency. I tell you that shit.
Yeah.
You up there, bro? I'm not gonna lie. You
I'm
hard,
trying
man.
to be, bro. That's what.
Yeah. But now like first of all, just the way you fluently speak off rip is amazing. Is like I said, you sound like a book. But even then, the knowledge and the way you know you back it up, and then the way you give you examples, and then it's like shit. It's amazing. I didn't even know the human brain could do that shit. That shit is crazy, bro. Like this is crazy.
The last person I was able to see that was able to do it like that was Young Pharaoh.
Yo, no, he was yeah.
Yeah.
He was like that. Yeah, he was definitely like that.
He like
Okay,
that.
so I mean, let me ask like maybe one or two more questions.
Okay.
So, heaven and hell, is that mindset, or you think those are actual places?
When it comes to heaven and hell, it's metaphysically talking about the biological functions of the body, because hell is actually the bottomless pit, which is the base of the spine. So that's when you go from lead to gold. So when you go from lead to gold, that's when you use your prana, your life force, your sexual energy as a elixir. And that elixir raises up the vibration to where you're able to go to heaven by way of the activation of the mind of the crown chakra. So that's why I was saying, like, heaven and hell was actually a state of mind. It's a frequency.
Okay. And why do the churches, they use that so, why do they use that so much? Is it a scare tactic? Get you in the church?
Everything they do in church is operated by the frequency of fear. It's a fear tactic. Because one thing you got to understand about the church is connected to the corporate apparatus of the matrix system, because the church and the state is not separate. So this is why you got pastors, they get 501c3s and everything from the government to push out fear. They get paid to push out fear, to basically use it as a negative catalyst to pull you into the religion. You get what I'm saying? Because the more people they got inside their congregations, this is where they get more funding from the government.
Right. Okay. So the grid that we all live in, the square. If you notice, everything is in squares that we live in. Houses, computer screens, TVs, phones. That's like the kryptonite of nature, correct? Like prison cells, it's to trap the body. Smoke said it's the body. The body is like a square, like that's where the soul is trapped, basically.
I get what you're saying. You get into holonomic brain theory, it tells you that the brain is holographic, but there's an encryption over it. It's a square. But this is why I keep telling people you got to think outside the box, because when you think outside the box, you think outside the matrix. Right. So you get into geomancy and you get into the metaphysics of geomancy and the esoteric knowledge of it. It shows you how you have different ley lines and geometrical shapes all over the planet. And the reason they have the veneration of the cube or the square is because a square is able to absorb energy. It's able to trap energy. Because like I was telling you about the moon being the external hard drive of the planet Earth, because the moon is actually a representation of the square.
Right.
The sun is a representation of the circle. But a square and a circle, when you get in sacred geometry, is able to live on two different dimensional planes because they both add up to 360 degrees of knowledge.
Right. Yeah.
Because 490-degree angles on the square, that's 360. Then you got the circle, that's 360. So everything on planet Earth, as far as like the matrix, is all cultivated by the energy of the cube and the veneration of it, because it sucks up microscopic waves of energy from our neurons, from our body, and they upload it into a neuromorphic cyber cloud for the technology.
Okay. So do you, since you seem very in tune, do you remember, do you know how many times you've been reincarnated here? Do you remember any past life things? Do you know anything about anything that you've done, in the past as another being?
I've had several dreams where in the past something had happened to me, and I used to have this dream all the time when I was younger, and I knew it was me in another lifetime. And then I had another dream of me always, and it was in front of a pyramid, and it was like somebody was behind me, but I was looking from the back of me, and I knew it was me, and it was like in between that time of daytime and nighttime when the sun's going down, I was sitting in front of a pyramid, and I knew it was me, and I guess that was me in a different lifetime. I've had that dream probably about 20 something times.
Damn. Yeah, that had to be you, bro.
A lot of times, a lot of the stuff that you see in your dreams is actually, as far as like, you be like, damn, I keep seeing this person, but I keep having the same dream and I don't know who it is. That means it's you in another lifetime.
Oh, okay. No, that definitely makes sense. Should you always believe your dreams?
I wouldn't say believe them. I would say you should also take notes. Take notes every morning when you Every time you come across a dream and it has a download connected to it or whatever, take notes. Take notes.
Right. 'Cause I done had some vivid dreams. I still remember today.
Most of them are symbolic. Most of them
Mhm.
are symbolic. Like a person, they'll be like, "Oh, I died in my dream." That means that you're probably dying of something. You're going through a transition. It's not physical death. It could be a spiritual death. A spiritual death of something that you're trying to get away from. As far as like you need to get away from certain friends, well, you need to put away the alcohol or the cigarettes and things of that nature and stop going to the club.
Right.
That basically symbolizes. It could symbolize a person going through a transformation and they shedding off dead weight, which is
Mhm.
you got to go from that death process.
Right.
Yep.
Okay. What's your take on psychedelics? Do you think it's like a they do you believe psychedelics help you communicate with, beings that's always been there, maybe even your, spirit guides or per se some people might even say God or just in
Shit, we don't
general.
need shit. If niggas take time to sit out in the sun for about 2 hours a day, you don't need no psychedelics because serotonin converts over to melatonin, which gives you dopamine. And that dopamine
Mm.
in itself is activated by the energies of the sun. So during the times that you're supposed to be out in the sun, motherfuckers is in front of a computer at work because during the early times of the day, that's when the sun produces B12. B12 is an energy and a vitamin that has the ability to dematerialize cancer cells and is able to activate more neurons in the brain. And it's also able to reset your proprioception to where you're activated by the circadian rhythm of nature, to where you're able to
Right.
harmonize with it.
So
So
basically, so the sun can heal us from shit, damn near everything. We just sitting there, motherfucker.
that's why I said light is going to be the medicine in the future. That's why I
Hmm.
said that. And that light
So
is coming from the sun.
right. Okay. So another thing. So you know how we put a label on, like, this is good, this is bad. There's really no such thing as, good, bad. It's everything just neutral, and you just have to face the mirror, because everything has a consequence.
Mm-hmm.
Um, is good and bad just a programming, or is really everything just neutral and everything just has a mirror that you have to face, whatever that is? Um,
I wouldn't say good and bad is a form of programming because everything in the universe operates on a logistical order, meaning that everything has boundaries. So there is
mm,
a diametrical difference between good and evil,
mm,
but it's also illusionary at the same time because we live in a dualistic paradox. Because if we was operating from a place of reality and oneness, it wouldn't be no good. It wouldn't be no energy of evil. You know what I'm saying? Because, like I said, now that we're not operating from a place of abundance, that's what creates polarity. And polarity
right,
is what creates capitalism. Because now you got rich people, now you got poor people. You got fat
right,
people, now you got skinny people. You live in a dualistic energy because it's all cultivated by the illusion that is also the blueprint for human emotion.
right. But then again, fat, rich, poor, just at the end of the day, balance.
Yeah, but what I'm saying in the when you fifth dimensional civilizations, you got to watch this anime movie called The Law of the Sun
Mm,
on YouTube for free. And they say, it shows you, it demonstrates that a fifth dimensional civilization, everybody was on the same wave pattern. Everybody was on the same frequency. Wasn't nobody doing nothing different. Everybody was harmonizing together. It was one of those things where everybody was doing for self.
hmm.
You know what I'm saying? People wasn't looking to other people to capitalize off of.
Judging or nothing like that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Um, do you think we can return back to that? Do you think it is returning back to that? As
Yep,
far as
we in the sun cycle now, so everything has to go back into its original order. I'm not
right,
saying it's going to happen with our generation, but it can take maybe about 4 more generations to even get to that level. But it's happening right
right,
now. We're going through the process, but we gotta do the dirty work
hmm,
just for the next, generations to reap the benefits of the hereafter.
Right. So let's say our generation doesn't make it to see that time. And we pass, we can choose to come back and experience it.
It ain't gonna be no last time. This is the last reincarnation cycle. So it's one of those things you got to get it right. People got to stop playing. We got to get it right.
And what if you don't?
You're gonna be stuck. You're gonna be stuck in the land of the in between. They call it the land of sticks. You're gonna be a disembodied spirit stuck on a planet.
And you can never get out?
No, not until you ever seen the movie Casper? That's basically like
The ghost.
Yeah, it's a movie, the old movie Casper the Ghost.
I know the Casper the Ghost. I don't think I've seen. Have I seen it? I think I've seen it probably a long time ago. Unless they made a new one. If you're talking about a new one, I haven't seen that.
No, it's an old one, but when you watch it, that's really talking about apparitions 101. So,
so this
when you're a disembodied spirit, that means that you haven't fulfilled your purpose. So when you haven't fulfilled your purpose, that means that you're a ghost or a spirit that's trying to work through other people and looking for a body as a host to carry out whatever you was trying to do when you was alive. That's why you get some people who can be possessed by spirits. That's because the spirit is trying to work through them to complete what they were trying to do in the physical so they can ascend into the hereafter.
That's crazy. So, okay, if you do become that Casper, right? You don't have a body now. You're just a stuck spirit, like in a realm, like you said.
At the end of the movie, though, he ended up getting a body.
So how did he get the body?
He ended up getting a body, and he finished out some unfinished business. And then after the end of the movie, he wasn't a ghost no more. He was able to break free, but he needed a vessel in order to carry out whatever he was trying to do, like whatever his mission was.
So he figured out his mission after he was already like Casper, like the ghost.
Yeah, and he was trying to live it. He was trying to complete it through other people.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So life is not only just a game, but it's something that you really have to pass in order to, like, you can't bullshit. If you have a soul and you have a purpose, and you have to fulfill the contract. Like, you can't go back and be like, oh, you didn't fulfill the contract. You can do what the fuck you want to do now. Like this shit is really like. So obviously, yeah. So that we got to be ruled by something higher then.
Yep.
And damn. And that's what we call God.
Yep. Or the Most High. That whole
the Most High. But we also call Earth prison.
Yep. Earth is a prison. That's a fact. It traps life.
And we got stuck in this prison just for experience purposes, or because we did something like, not, I won't say bad, but like against divine control, wishes, however you want to say it, divine order. Because I mean, it's prison, you have to do something bad.
Yeah. Enlil started making humans, and that's why Yaqub, he said, I will create a people that was rule over you for 6,000 years. And that's why they got rulership over us.
Why the fuck I don't remember that? Why I can't remember that shit?
Yeah. I don't know, but the sun is going to help us remember, though. I know that for a fact.
Okay. Oh, okay.
Because the sun has the ability to activate your epigenetics. Your epigenetics is when you pull information from the subconscious mind.
And then basically you remember what you did to get here.
Yep. That's the thing though. You gotta remember. But everything is inside your DNA. That's when you pull information from the Akashic records. So it's not only subjected to higher knowledge. You pulling your Akashic records is when you're looking at all your past lives. You ever played the video game Assassin's Creed?
Yeah.
That's basically him going into all his past lives. He was going into the Akashic records to complete out missions of the video game. Same thing takes place in real time. So you got to go through the past of your memory and your DNA to remember what the fuck happened to complete all those missions in order to beat the game of life.
Right. And so, okay, you beat the game of life. Do you become a creator of your own universe? Can you're just free? You can create at will.
You go from neophyte, adept to master. You become a master because once you master this realm, that's when you get access to circumnavigate the celestial seas to other planets.
What the fuck? Nah, this shit is
It's
crazy,
like,
bro.
it's like a form of graduation.
Right.
Yeah, it's like you graduating in a degree.
Hmm.
You know, but a lot of us, we was incarnated. Most people are reincarnated. Reincarnation is basically like you failing your motherfucking test in high school and you got to retake it. That's what reincarnation is.
Right. And he allowed you to keep doing it over and over and over.
Yep.
Like you just gonna keep doing this shit.
Motherfuckers keep coming back. Got F's all over, you know. Then they got F's all over the report card of life, and they wonder why they keep coming back.
And so this really is a school. Because
Yep.
I heard people say it's just some people say it's experience just to get experience as a human, and some people say it's a school.
It's definitely it's a school because the word school comes from the word Sheol, which means hell, and hell is the Demiurge, and the Demiurge is the third dimension merged in with the lower fourth dimension.
Wow, that's fucking crazy.
Yep, shit
So
crazy.
people over we live in these uh program lives. We live, we go to school, start a family,
Mm-hmm.
you know, we do the whole cycle, then we die, and bring your ass right back because you doing the shit all wrong.
Yeah, you got to break out of the Kali Yuga time cycle loop, and it's all cultivated by trauma. Once you break out of the trauma loop, that's when you take your power back. Because, like I said, the trauma in itself is basically reconfigures the brain.
Right.
So, because the reconfiguration of the brain in itself is why people got caps on their neurons. This is why people can't think outside the box. This is why people got brain fog. This is why people can't have an independent thought. They got caps on their neurons from the trauma, from bad experiences and things of that nature.
Man. Well, I'm trying to think of that lady name. But then I watched the video. She explained it. She said Earth is probably the hardest realm to master
Yeah,
or to get out of because
yeah,
this is the low this is for sure the lowest realm.
yeah. Planet Earth, the third dimension, is basically like Harlem during the time of the crack cocaine epidemic. That's what planet Earth is like. So really, there's no evolution for the third dimension. Remember, I was telling you that everything in the third dimension actually gets worse, but they give you the illusion of progressiveness. You get what I'm
Yeah,
saying? They try to make the good bad and the bad good.
right.
So it's everything's inverted. Everything's inverted. So that's why I said there's no evolution for it. So that's why we got to go through reset. And a reset is an energy shift by way of constellations and merging in with different celestial bodies, going from the age of the age of Pisces to Aquarius, from the Alpha Draconis star system to the star Polaris. That's what's happening.
Yeah. Shit, man.
I'm gonna one more in. I got it.
Okay. Is America Babylon?
Yep, America's Babylon, and the reason I say that is because America was cultivated by conquistadors and colonizers with the 13 colonies. Because the 13 colonies was cultivated by the British, and then when you look at the sigil system of Great Britain, it shows you a lion. So that means that America is actually Babylon, which is the baby lion of the British Empire that created 13 colonies over in America when they took us out of our sovereign capacity. So that's how they created the corporate apparatus, by building the patriarch on top of the matriarch.
Right. Okay. So since you answered that question, you did one more. Just one
Okay.
more.
All right.
Okay. Why do kids come up missing so often?
The reason you have about 800,000 children come up missing every year, on time, every time, is because it's being done at the highest level of government. Because kids, they have a metaphysical energy that's connected to their genetic format. Because one thing about children, they have a quantum entanglement processing system in their brains all the way up into the ages of 13, meaning
Right.
that they have a certain G force inside of their genetic format in their blood. So this is why the government of the corporate apparatus, they use adrenochrome in order to revitalize their genetical structure, because the ones who control the corporate apparatus are the ones that's connected to the 13 bloodlines of the Illuminati, which is the Canaanite bloodline, which is the cursed seed of the Bible, the ones that was cursed with leprosy, which is basically a vampiric disease because they're not able to harmonize with the energy of the sun. So that's why the Canaanite, when it comes to child trafficking, human trafficking, they get their energy from blood. We get our energy from the sun. That's the
Right.
difference.
Right. And that's another reason why like a lot of people, that has spoke out against like the industry. They do blood rituals and stuff, all the time. They drink
Everything,
blood.
everything is a blood contract, because a blood contract is actually a faustian bargain. It don't matter when you writing your motherfucker signature to write off a car loan and you signing a deal. It don't matter if you writing it off in pen. It's still a blood contract, because the mechanics and the inception of the first contract was written in blood. So
Right.
just because you writing in pen don't mean it ain't a blood contract. That's still a blood contract.
Right.
Because when you're signing over your nature, you sign over your nature, that's where signature comes from. But your nature is who you are, a creator. That's why when you get a record deal and you get the contract, you're supposed to cross out actor and you're supposed to cross out artist and put creator. That's how you get full autonomy over your creativity, to where they're not able to monetize off your work. So this is why I was telling you about how Nipsey, Young Dolph, Tory Lanez, anytime that you cut out the middleman, you're going to become an enemy to the system. And the reason
Right.
is because somebody got to get paid on Wall Street. So anytime that you're basically independent, that's you basically becoming a god, you becoming your own creator.
Right.
That's why they had to kill off Nipsey, Rock
Hmm.
Nation. This is why they had to kill off Young Dolph, because who was Young Dolph beefing with? He was beefing with Yo Gotti. Yo Gotti is signed to Rock Nation.
Right.
Nipsey was holding meetings with Rock Nation. Tory Lanez, Rock Nation wanted to sign him. So they sent Meg the Stallion to him, and then you see what happened to him, and he was making $1 million off NFTs. So that's how you
Right.
know that Rock Nation is being used as a catalyst for the corporate apparatus to cut off the middleman in the industry. They want to
Right.
monetize
Yeah.
off your creativity as much as possible. So that's
Right.
why I said cross out actor, cross out artist when you sign these contracts, and put creator, because that means that you're no longer under the jurisdiction under the act of parliament.
Right. Okay.
Bro, we got a lot
Oh,
of this motherfucking video, bro.
man. Oh my, I'm gonna have fun ending.
Uh,
Man, but yeah, bro. Like I said, man, I appreciate you, bro. Um, man, you got it, bro, for
I
sure.
appreciate you.